Welcome, listeners, to the 23rd and final episode of our 2026 World Cup Chronicle. You know, I remember when a World Cup final felt like a distant, almost mythical event that only came around once in a blue moon. Now, after 39 days of grueling football, incredible highs and devastating lows, the dust has finally settled across North America. I'm Arthur, your resident custodian of history, and sitting across from me, as always, is the architect of our modern understanding, my daughter Nora.
It feels surreal to finally wrap this up, Dad. The data sets from this tournament alone are going to take me months to fully parse. But what an absolute privilege it has been to break down the global connectivity of this expanded 2026 format with all of you. It was a month where the beautiful game evolved right in front of our eyes.
It certainly was. And what a finale to cap it all off. Spain lifting the trophy for the first time since 2010, defeating Argentina 1-0 after extra time. The atmosphere in that stadium, you could feel the electricity vibrating through the television screen. It was an epic battle of wills, but also a night of pure heartbreak for the South Americans. Seeing Lionel Scaloni exit his news conference in tears, telling the press that the loss hurts his soul. That is the raw emotion that makes this sport so incredibly compelling.
The emotional narrative was definitely front and center, but the tactical fallout of that match is what really determined the outcome. What do the numbers say about that late drama, you ask? Well, it was a pressure cooker that finally exploded. Everything shifted when Enzo Fernandez was sent off late with that second yellow card. You cannot go down to 10 men against a Spanish side that completely dominates the expected goals on target, or XGOT metrics.
And then losing their keeper, Emi Martinez, to an apparent injury right in the thick of the chaos. He had played it so cool in the net up until that point, even as his teammates were turning reckless around him.
Exactly. Once Martinez was out and they were a man down, the structural integrity of Argentina's defense collapsed. Spain capitalized on the overload. When you look at Spain's expected goals per 90 across the knockout stages, a breakthrough was mathematically inevitable. Ferran Torres scoring that extra-time winner wasn't just a dramatic moment. It was the final result of compounding high-probability chances.
Torres put it beautifully after the match, didn't he? He said, "It was a goal scored by 47 million people." That really speaks to the collective spirit of this Spanish team. They weren't a collection of individual superstars like some of the squads we saw crash out early. They were a singular, breathing entity.
Let's deep dive into that collective system, because the advanced metrics show a massive contrast between the two finalists. Unai Simon went on record saying it was Spain's record defense that made his job in goal so easy. And he's right. If we pull up the tackles and interceptions per 90 minutes, Spain operated as an impenetrable wall. They controlled the pitch by shutting down passing lanes before they even materialized. Argentina, conversely, abandoned their group stage averages for XG and XA per 90. They completely stopped generating big chances created, essentially hoping to bypass the midfield entirely. Dad, you've seen this happen before, right? A team relying on one player versus a team relying on a system.
I have, Nora, many times. In fact, Barney Ronay wrote a magnificent column this morning that perfectly encapsulated what you were talking about. He wrote that Spain's system subdued a team built on the irrational magic of Messi's lone genius. It is a harsh truth for Argentina. When you watch them out there, particularly in extra time, they looked like a squad holding out for a miracle. Spain, on the other hand, just methodically turned the screw. Patience beats an over-reliance on a single talisman.
That transition into relying solely on Messi definitely hurt them, especially when you contrast it with how Spain distributed their goals and assists across the entire front line and midfield. Even Rodri walking away with the golden ball, while Mbappé claimed the golden boot for France, shows that the tournament's best player was an orchestrator, not just a pure finisher.
Since we are on the topic of orchestrators, we have to talk about Lionel Messi. Seeing him on the bench, fighting back tears as he soaked in the realization that this was likely the end of his World Cup career. It was a deeply profound, almost tragic image. Pablo Iglesias Morer called Argentina the final villains in Messi's fairy tale, which feels a bit severe, but you understand the sentiment. He deserved a better final act.
It was tough to watch, even if you are just analyzing it strictly objectively. But this loss in 2026 doesn't diminish his legacy in the slightest, does it?
Not for a second. I was looking over an updated ranking of the top 10 players of all time this morning, looking at names like Ronaldinho, Beckenbauer, Ronaldo Nazario, Zidane, all the way up to Cruyff, Maradona, and Pelé. Messi stands at the very summit. He is number one. A loss in this final does not erase the poetry he has given the sport for the past 2 decades. He is the ultimate GOAT.
He is, but the incredible thing about the football ecosystem is that it never actually stops. The moment one era ends, a new variable enters the equation. Enter Lamine Yamal. He is without a doubt the crown prince of this generation. Based on his expected goals on target variant and his progressive carries, Yamal has the statistical ceiling to bring us just as much football joy as Messi did. Plus, the social media timeline has been absolutely flooded with that legendary 2007 photo shoot where a young Messi is literally bathing a baby Yamal in a plastic tub. You literally cannot engineer a more perfect passing of the torch narrative.
Oh, that photo is quite literally art imitating life. I love that connection. It bridges the history I cherish with the modern game you analyze so well. Speaking of the modern internet, though, what exactly was happening off the pitch? Because from what I could see, it looked like sheer chaos out there.
Sheer chaos is an understatement. First of all, FIFA's social media protection service had to remove over 7 million toxic posts over the course of the tournament. The digital footprint of this World Cup was massive and highly volatile. And then we had the halftime show. What a bizarre, trending disaster. You had Shakira, Madonna, BTS, Justin Bieber, and for some inexplicable reason, a bunch of Muppets sharing the stage. The timeline was unified in total confusion.
Muppets? Good heavens, I am glad I stepped away to make a cup of tea during the break. Though I did catch the post-match incident, hearing the stadium loudly boo Gianni Infantino and Donald Trump before Trump attempted to photobomb the Spanish celebrations. It was surreal. It certainly interrupted the traditional majesty of the trophy lift. Some things, the beautiful game included, are best left strictly to the players and the supporters who actually built it.
It was peak 2026, internet culture colliding with traditional sports broadcasting. But looking forward, there are bigger structural things we need to evaluate. This was the first 48-team World Cup, and it generated record revenues. FIFA is announcing a massive $15 billion smash in expectations. From an analytics perspective, more teams meant a wider sample size and incredible global exposure. Canada proved they belong, with the fan marches showing they truly know football culture.
It did give us some wonderful stories. I won't quickly forget the drama of England's run, going out to Argentina in the semis after a late double broke English hearts, only for Bukayo Saka to score a hat-trick in an epic 6-4 win over France in the third-place playoff. It was pure entertainment, but Nora, I have to be honest, it felt exhausting. The sheer volume of matches diluted the prestige just a fraction.
I have to agree with you there, Dad. The player fatigue levels by the knockout stages were in the red zone across all my data models. We love the expanded variables, but the human body has a limit. I think we can both firmly agree that we hope Infantino's rumored plan to expand further to 64 teams does not become a reality.
Absolutely not. Let the players recover and let the tournament retain its magic without oversaturating the calendar.
Well, on that note, we have finally reached the end of our data set for the 2026 World Cup. Thank you to everyone who stayed with us for the last month.
It has been the absolute privilege of a lifetime sharing the history, the heartbreak, and the undeniable beauty of this game with all of you. From Nora and myself, thank you for listening, take care of yourselves, and goodbye.